Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Big Donch Show. Today, we are interviewing someone a bit different in the boxing world, and that is a cutman. Jay joins us today to talk about what a cutman does and what it takes to be one and a whole lot more. Thank you, Jay, for joining me today.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, bro.
No problem. I'm definitely excited to do this. In the past, I did a lot of boxers, really only boxers, amateurs and professionals. Austin Brooks, I'm pretty sure you worked with him, correct?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Last year, man, that was an awesome show. Awesome experience, man.
Cool. So yeah, he was my first ever boxer I ever interviewed, so that was pretty cool. So I saw that you worked with him. That was pretty cool. So
Oh, wow,
yeah.
cool.
So just tell me before we even start, tell the viewers what exactly does a cut man do?
So a cut man, essentially, he's a part of the corner. You have your boxer, of course. Then you have your chief second, which is the head coach, and then you have a second, which is a cut man, or you can have two seconds, which is um, one cut man and a second who controls the stool and does other things. But essentially, a cut man is pretty much what the title says. They work on cuts and bruises. Not only that, but ice them up to just kind of do a lot of preventative stuff, and kind of rejuvenate them, essentially. Um, yeah, yeah,
How about like taping hands, taping wrists? Is that what you do also?
yes, I do also. There are some cut men that only wrap hands and don't do cuts, vice versa. Some don't wrap hands and some just work on cuts. But yeah, I do both.
So what do you think that is? What do you think that is? Your coaches just have a preference or they don't want anybody else doing it? What do you think that is?
Why it's one or the other.
Yeah, yeah.
There are I've heard stories where cut men rap only and don't work on cuts because they get freaked out by the blood.
Oh geez.
Yeah.
I can see
Um,
that.
yeah. And there's cut men that are very skilled in working cuts and bruises and all that stuff. But haven't really got their craft down on wrapping hands, or are still in the process of, getting their whole methods down and whatnot.
So I've been so familiar with just using regular 180-inch wraps that I've been doing, I mean, like the Velcro ones. I mean, I'm sure doing it the professional way like you do, I'm sure that could be a pain. Do people also try to avoid that just because they simply don't want to have to deal with that? Or, how is that with you? Do you actually enjoy wrapping hands like that?
Oh, I enjoy it, man. It's an art for sure, and also there's actually, like real thought, because you can't, I mean, like anybody can wrap hands. You can wrap hands. Dude from down the street can wrap hands, but there's a difference between just to wrap hands, just to wrap them, and then also actually thinking, okay, what gauze do I use? Do I start rotating the gauze outside of the hand or inside? Should I cross it? Should I cross the gauze on top of the wrist? Should I cross under? Should I do it this way, that way? Should I tape? How do I rip the tape? What kind of tape do I use? Do I put a lot of tension on the tape, even the gauze? So there's a lot of thought into it, man. It's crazy. And I'm still in the process of um trying to modify and improve my raps. So I practice on my wife and son all the time, and they give me feedback, which is awesome.
Well, I'm sure, of course, for you and the boxer, the coach, everybody, the main goal is just to make sure the hand's secure, tight, but they have basically room to breathe with their hand, right? They have flexibility in their hand movement, right? It's not super tight. That's probably
Right.
obviously something that you also want to perfect.
Yeah. Of course.
So just tell me exactly what was your journey to becoming Cutman? Why did you want to become one? And then what would you recommend for anybody who's looking to get into this profession or career?
So it all goes back to when I was a little kid. My dad was, I mean, he was watching fights, in the 80s. You have your Tysons, your Hearns, your Haglers. So he was watching Top Rank all the time. And I was, just listening to music and playing Nintendo while he was watching TV. So I would watch with him. Fast forward, how I got into it was I had a really bad neck injury, so I was out of commission. I was on bed rest. I couldn't lift anything. So I'm sitting there on the couch watching TV, right? And I'm actually just watching the corner. Like I never really paid attention to the corner. And I'm looking at the Cutman. I can't remember which fight it was. And I just had a smile on my face and I said, yo, because I work as a nurse for a living. And so I said, hey, man, these guys are essentially nurses in the corner. They're like medics in the corner. And I was like, man, I want to do that. At the time, my son, we enrolled him in the boxing. And so I reached out to his instructor, who's also a boxing coach. I said, hey, man, his name is Seal. I said, hey, Coach Seal, I really want to be that guy in the corner. You know what I mean? That nurse in the corner. And he says, the funny thing was he had a boxer who had a fight that weekend, and he just said, come along with me. And yeah, from that point on, man, you know, I just started grinding. But that first experience was that weekend was my first experience learning how to communicate in the corner, how to coordinate who's doing what, how to get through the ropes, how to hold the stool, how to pop it in. So even that, you know, I mean, people think, okay, you know what, the stool, nah, man, that's easy work. Or in the corner is easy work, man. It's amazing how you have to communicate, make sure all roles are clear, how to be efficient. Just be efficient, how to pop that stool in, get out of your coach's way or the cut man's way, and just have everything orchestrate nicely, you know. Sorry, man, I went off tangent again, man. But
No.
What was the other part of your question?
You know, so yeah, you explained how you got into it. Now let's say a random person, you know, let's say I wanted to get into it. What do you recommend for me now?
What I recommend is learn how to wrap hands. Learn how to wrap hands because that'll be a very good asset, you know. Um, you'll get to learn numerous ways how to wrap hands. And that'll be one skill for you. And also if you want to get into it, having a mentor, man, really helps. There was one point where I kind of had to take the initiative, and I also was like brainstorming with my wife. I said, hey, I really want to do this. What should I do? She was like, you know what, you should get out there. And at first I was like, get out there. Nah, man, they'll just call me. No, I mean, like, if you really think about it, no one's gonna, like, if no one sees you in these shows, how are you gonna get calls, right? So I was doing a lot of shows in the amateur field, just getting out there, just going to shows, even like for free. A lot of times, even now, you know what I'm saying? Um, Start networking. And going back on track, you know, I met actually Cutman Al Gomez, who's a well-known Cutman. He's been in the game for a very long time. You know, he sent me a message, and I was essentially starstruck, man, that people are watching, right?
Mhm.
And I followed him when I first started. I would look at his raps. I would look at the stuff he posts and what he does in the corner, what kind of tape he uses, what kind of scissors and all that stuff. And I get a message from him, and man, I was just shocked. I kind of froze and didn't know what to do. Went to my wife and, you know, went to her and said, hey, man, Al Gomez messaged me. He says he wants to take me to the top rank show, which was Austin Brooks's fight down here in San Diego. Yeah, but just having a mentor, man, like he, till this day, we talk to each other. I'll ask him questions because there's still yet a lot of stuff for me to learn on my journey. And he'll give me Cutman advice. But not only that, what I treasure about Al Gomez, he also gives me advice to say, hey, you know what? Being a Cutman is cool, but most importantly, you want to be that good husband, that good father, that good family man, you know, because that always comes first, which, man, it's awesome. He's like my big bro for sure, you know. But having a mentor, man, a really good mentor, man, will show you the ropes and keep you in line. You know what I mean?
So it definitely seems like, you had a good journey. You had people supporting you, and you also seem passionate about it, which is definitely very important with anything somebody does.
Mhm.
So that's definitely cool to see. So basically, also, you don't really need to be like, you don't have to be licensed. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't have to be like licensed or certified or anything like that.
No, it's essentially in the state of California, man. You just need to pay $50 for the license. That's it. That's it. And you just learn, you just learn every time you work the corner. And if you have like a mentor or have somebody show you how to do it the right way. And a lot of times it's trial and error, and just watching on TV and applying it in real life, you know what I mean? And just repetition, man, just repetition, networking, go out there, keep going to shows. And I still am doing that now, and it's just experience, man. I'm trying to gain.
So how does one like yourself get us like, I don't know, I'm going to call like assignments. I'm not really sure like what you call it, or just how do you
Yeah.
get fights? Are you basically like a freelancer, or boxing gyms will hit you up, say, hey, I have a fight this Saturday or something, we need a cut man. Just tell me exactly how you get fights.
So it all started going to a lot of the USA boxing shows last year. I went to damn near every show, contacting the coaches, the head coaches for that boxing gym, say, hey, and it probably might have sounded silly to the boxing coaches because USA Boxing, they wear headgear, like to get a phone call from a cut man and say, hey, coach, so and so, if you need help working, if you need help from somebody working the corner, or just help with rapping other fighters, I'm available. I would do that all the shows. I did that for a whole year. But with that comes like people, like I said again, coaches will see you, fighters will see you, and they start seeing you, right?
Mhm.
And then now, these people will message you that are from the pros, and you get to the pro level, right? And then you get noticed by other cutmen, other coaches, and they message you. Like for instance, Al Gomez, he saw me, boom, he sent me a message. That was it. That was one way. And then other coaches call you, fighters call you, hey Jay, are you available? How much do you charge? This, that, and third. So it's essentially the show and face, man,
Mhm.
and talking to the right people to to either be them to help you out, or if they know somebody that'll help you out, or somebody knows somebody else. And that's key, man.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely makes sense, right? To get your name out there, build a reputation for yourself. Because I mean, I've been following boxing for about 3 years now. Really, the only cutman I ever really heard of was Stitch Duran. Obviously, you're familiar with him, but obviously, he's so popular because he has a good reputation and he's good
Yeah,
at
yeah,
what he does. So obviously,
yeah.
it makes sense in a career like this.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, man. Stitch, man. That's a living legend right there, man. True living
Absolutely.
legend, man. Everybody looks up to him. It's crazy, man. It's just so awesome, man.
So let's say you have just a fight this Saturday, for example. That you have. Just tell me some of the items that you have that you bring with you. Do you have bring like a bag or anything like that? Just exactly what are you bringing to be prepared?
So if I have a show this weekend, I'm already prepared. So just to rewind, if I had a show last week, or let's say 6 months ago, right? When I come back from that show, I'm already I'm already cleaning my stuff, my bag, and I'm packing when I get home. So I'm already ready. Just in case, just like you said, like if I get a call for a show, I won't have to think and try to plan. Like I've already done that. I'll just kind of open up my bag and kind of refresh. But I'll bring um I'll bring kits, like wrapping kits. What that entails is maybe four rolls of gauze, 2 rolls of tape for a fighter. And I'll have maybe like 5 or 6 kits. I'll have 2 different pairs of scissors, one for detailing and one for cutting off the wraps after the fight. I'll carry Ziplocs for ice. I'll carry two collapsible buckets. Gosh, there's a whole bunch of stuff, man. I'll carry like a stack of gloves, a bunch of towels, different swabs, medicine that's approved by the commission. I'll bring food, I'll bring gum, toothpick. What else am I bringing?
Well, I don't know if you bring this. I see it all the time boxing. I don't even know what it is, so I'm hoping you know. Like it's like a big metal thing, right? It's usually cold. They put it on their eyes. A question for you is then this. I didn't even have this question written down. This just came up. What exactly is that for? How could something like that help swelling in a minute round? I mean a minute rest. Like how does that even? What's the point of that? I feel like that's pointless to me. It's probably not. You should. But I'm just looking to
Yeah.
get that question answered.
No, that's actually a good question, man, and I'll answer it. So it's called an end swell. It was debuted in the 80s, man. So essentially it's steel. They have different sizes. And what that does is just like ice. It it brings the swelling down. Of course, it's not going to bring down a big swollen cheek in 60 seconds, right? It's not. But what that does is if you know how to use it right, it'll help for prevention to not to have a bruise not get that bad. For example, right? I'll usually start icing the boxer's face, man, in the locker room, you know. I'll ice their face in between, like while they're working on mitts, while they're warming up with their coach, you know. I'll ice their face up, even grease their face, right? That's another thing just to prevent abrasions on the face. So I'll do that, and I'll ice them. I'll use the end swell in between rounds, or even just ice packs. But essentially, the end swell is steel that's cold. You have it immersed under ice, right? In between rounds, you put direct pressure on that little swollen part, wherever it is, the brow, the cheek, chin area, just direct pressure, and that'll just freeze the physiological stuff that's going on to create that swelling.
Well, that answers that perfectly. I always wondered. So thank you
Yeah.
for answering that for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it's not going to bring the swelling in 60 seconds, man. It's not. You kind of have to already be working on that from even at home. I'll tell boxers, hey, man, when you wake up in the morning, ice your face up that week, even way before. Ice your face at night. You know what I'm saying? Moisturize your face at night before you go to bed. And even when you wake up in the morning, all that stuff adds to, prevention, man.
So adding on that, I had some scenarios, just made up scenarios. I just want you to walk me through them. First one, a fighter has a cut over his right eye. How exactly are you taking care of that?
Cut over the right eye.
It's just an example. Left eye, right
Yeah,
eye,
yeah,
just.
yeah. Cut over the right eye. Boom. Bell rings. I'll um I'll communicate even before the fight starts to the head coach. I'll say, hey, if our fighter starts bleeding or gets cut or whatever, is it okay with you that I go into the ring onto the apron, so I can work on that cut? Usually, 9 times out of 10, yes, you may. With that being said, bell rings, boxers cut over the right eye. I go through the ropes, onto the apron, into the ring. I'll wipe them off with a little baby wipe. If I have it, usually I carry baby wipes, but if I don't forget to pack it with me to go into the ring, I'll wipe off the cut with a baby wipe or a towel just to see what I'm working with. I won't wipe it too hard. I'll dab it, get that off, see what I'm working with. And then I'll already have my swab soaked with adrenaline or epinephrine, and just hold the boxer's head from the back. I don't really like putting my hand on top of the head. It's just an uncomfortable feeling, just putting pressure on the boxer's head while he's tired as hell. So I'll put my my non-dominant hand in back of the boxer's head, while I have that soaked swab, and I'll pretty much use that pressure. Then I'm kind of pushing the boxer's head towards the swab, and just start counting, you know. Start counting, rotate that swab to where there's no blood and just like a clean part of that swab with the med, put pressure again, and kind of just utilize that whole time before that bell rings. And I'll take the swab out really quick just to see if the bleeding stopped. If it stopped, then I'll go ahead and have I'll have Vaseline that's also that was also on ice. You put Vaseline on ice, it hardens, right? You take that hardened Vaseline, you put it over cut. It's almost like putty. It kind of fills that gap. And so I'll use that Vaseline over the cut. Yeah, that's essentially it. I can do other stuff at the same time. Wipe them down with, wipe his chest down and do all this other stuff. But mainly the cut is that priority.
Yeah, well, you answered that perfectly. Next one is, how about, a fighter, he has a swollen eye now, basically to the point where it's shut. It's questionable now if he should keep fighting. What is that process like, and what's that communication like?
Man, if after all the icing in between rounds, and that's kind of like the determining factor, right? Whether he can fight or not. The only thing you can do now, if you've done everything, right, it's really up to the doctor, man. If the boxer can't see through that eye, there's nothing really much you can do. I mean, you can ice that thing all you want, right? And like you said, 60 seconds, man, his eye shuts. Another 60 seconds isn't going to take that down. You kind of just have to hope that the boxer can see through that eye, through those eyelids. And the doctor says, okay, you can fight. But if not, and you did all you can, man, yeah.
Next one, not so much in a scenario, but let's say it's a 12th round fight, a 10 round fight, but it's you're handling pressure now. It's a really close fight. It's the 9th round of a 10th round fight. All this pressure building up. How do you deal with all of that? My question also is, I'm reading off here now. How do you handle the pressure of a fighter who may be beat up and bleeding and just needs as much care as he can in a really close fight? Just really, how do you handle pressure, I should say?
It's funny because I'm still new at this. Like I don't claim I know it all. I don't claim I'm the best or I'm better than him or her. I'm not, man. Like I'm still learning. Like I'm gonna be learning all the time, right? But as far as dealing with pressure, so I used to DJ back in the day. I used to do competitive DJing, DJ competitions in front of big crowds. I never really freaked out, man. I kind of love that attention, and it never really fazed me. So to kind of transition to boxing, even on my first boxing show that Coach Seal brought me to, I wasn't nervous, man. I just wanted to know what to do. That's all where my anxiety came from. If I was given a sequence of what to do, I would be all right. But since that was my very first show, I was a little nervous because I didn't know what to do. Should I pop the stool here? How should I hold the stool? But I didn't really care about the people in the seats. But again, just to answer your question, I don't know. It doesn't really bother me because it's just me and the fighter essentially, and I don't worry about anything else, man. I don't worry about the cameraman. If he's in my way, I'll say, hey man, can you move real quick, or I'll tap him. Yeah, man, it's just me, the chief second, the fighter, and the other second. That's it. That's all I'm concerned about. So the pressure, I don't know. Maybe it'll hit me one day. I don't know, right, man. But
that's good though.
As of now, yeah.
Good to hear. Yeah, that's good. That's right. Good. So I saw you do boxing and both MMA. Is there, what is just the work that you do? Is it any different? I'm sure it is obviously different, but how do you approach both sports differently?
I love doing both, man. MMA. I'm not on the pro level yet, but I am I am pretty busy in the amateur scene for MMA. Um, and that's where I get a lot of my experience for now. They don't wear any headgear. There's a lot of like bloody noses and cuts and bruises and stuff, which is awesome for me as far as experience, for when I get to the pro level in the MMA. Um, it's as far as rapping, it's crazy because in the amateur scene for MMA, um, man, if it's like a 15 bout card, that's about 30 fighters, right?
Mm.
And there have been times where, gosh, it was at least I think this was over in Hendo's down here in Temecula. It was a 13 bout card. I don't know how I did it. I was the only guy,
So you're
but
doing both corners?
I, yeah, I was doing both corners. I would go in the cage and kind of look at each fighter. But as far as rapping,
Mhm.
if you don't know what you're doing, and I damn near rapped, I don't know how many fighters. I don't know. I'm looking back on my IG pictures. I'm like, yo, that was a lot of fighters, man. But if you know what you're doing with rapping, um, man, you can rap pretty fast, looking nice, efficient, effective. And the MMA raps are totally different compared to boxing, man. It's much less. Padding on the knuckle is much less. Tape is much less. Um, so yeah, man. I love both, man. MMA and boxing, man.
Cool. So about two more questions left, just to wrap up. Your favorite memory of just being a cut man, and just overall, what are just some things you enjoy doing about the job?
Memory was man, there's so many of them, but the ones that stand out, man, was the Top Rank show when they came down to San Diego. Got to work the corner. Got to work Austin Brooks's corner with Bashir and Al Gomez. Um, the other one was I got to go to the Toyota Center this year for a Golden Boy card.
Oh, is that
Um,
Garcia?
that was I think the main event was Munguia.
Okay.
Yeah.
I interviewed Darius Fulgham. He was on Golden Boy Promotions a couple weeks ago. I don't know if you worked that one, but yeah, I was wondering.
That was a highlight. And just meeting some of the people that I look up to, man. Like I got a chance to meet a lot of guys from LA, man, like Marky, um, Saul Ochoa, John Michael. All these guys are, cutmen that are already established, man. Big Surge from LA. I got to meet Stitch and Mike Basil over at Top Rank when they were here last year. Um, I got to meet so many people, and I have yet to meet a lot of people, even internationally. Oh, and I also got to meet Federico Catazzone, man, the president for ICA. He's from Italy, man. I got to meet him. Crazy. He was over in Long Beach, man. Had one of his fighters on that card. Um, yeah, meeting a lot of people, man. And what I love about it, man, it's I know after nursing is finished, like through and I retire from nursing, this will be it. And this is like my nursing in the corner. You know what I'm saying? I don't have any question about it. There's no doubts about it. Every moment, man, every show, amateur, pro, you know what I'm saying? It's all fun. It's all love, and when the money comes, it comes. I don't, I mean, we all need money to live, but
Right.
it's the love, man.
That's good. That's good that you have something that you're doing no matter what. And I really could tell the passion too. I really appreciated this whole interview. Another thing was my girlfriend was looking forward to because we always joke around. I'm an amateur boxer. She's in physician assistant school. I said, when I
Oh,
become a
nice.
boxer, you're gonna be my cut man. So my girlfriend's gonna be my own cut man. She loves all the cuts and all. So she was very excited about this interview. So when she watches this, I'll have this up on Saturday. But yeah, I wanted to reach out. I was following you on Instagram. I'm like, you know what? Cutmen, they don't get the appreciation in the sport. I was like, you know, let's change up a bit. Let's, you know, interview a Cutman, and that's why I chose you, and I really appreciate all this.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me, man. It's funny because I mean, it's there's you know, essentially like for the general population that's watching the fight, like fans, right? All they see in the corner really is like the boxer and the coach, right? The cut man, they're like, man, who's that? You know what I mean? Which is, I mean, I'm not gonna hate on them, but really, it's not their fault,
Yeah.
you know. But it's interesting, and I appreciate you and other people who are kind of curious and like, yo, these guys play a major role, also. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, man, thank you for having me on the show, man.
So hey, everybody, thanks for watching. I'm going to have his Instagram in the description. Make sure to check his account out. And of course, Jay, best of luck with everything going on. I hope you get the biggest fights possible. I hope you stay happy and passionate though throughout your you know, your journey with this. That's really most important. Just staying passionate and staying happy about that.
Thank you, man.
Thank you guys for watching. I'm out, guys. Peace.